All right. Good morning, School of Light, F55, New Mexico. And we're looking in the book of Leviticus, chapter 9. On the eighth day, Moses summoned Aaron and his sons and the elders of Israel. I almost forget. We are a nonprofit correspondence Bible study ministry, and we have the courses set up for ages 4 through adult. In fact, all the students in their 80s. Um, And the way it works is you request that you'd like to have the Bible studies. We send them to you. Once you complete one, you put your answers back in the prepaid, pre-addressed stamped envelope. We receive it, we grade it, we make record of it in your name. And once you complete the series, we send you a certificate of completion. Enough certificate of completions, depending on the type, and you can earn college credit if that's something you're geared to do. So now we'll hop to chapter 9. On the eighth day, Moses summoned Aaron, his sons, and the elders of Israel. He said to Aaron, "Take a bull calf for your sin offering and a ram for your burnt offering without defect, and present them before the Lord. Then say to the Israelites, take a male goat for a sin offering, a calf and a lamb, and both a year old without defect for a burnt offering, and an ox and a ram for a fellowship offering, a sacrifice before the Lord, together with the grain offering mixed with oil, for today the Lord will appear to you." They took the things Moses commanded to the front of the tent of the meeting, and the entire assembly came and stood before the Lord. Then Moses said, "This is what the Lord has commanded to you, commanded you to do, so that the glory of the Lord may appear to you." Hmm. Moses said to Aaron, "Come to the altar and sacrifice your sin offering and your burnt offering, and make atonement for yourself and for the people. Sacrifice the offering that is for the people and make atonement for them as the Lord has commanded." So Aaron came to the altar, slaughtered the calf as a sin offering for himself. His sons brought the blood to him, and he dipped his finger into the blood and put it on the horns of the altar. The rest of the blood he poured out at the base of the altar. On the Oh my gosh, I just saw a picture in my mind. The blood at he put dipped his finger into the blood and put it on the horns of the altar. The horns. And I pictured, Jesus, the blood on his head, and then it says, and they took the rest of the blood. Where we at? Where we at? And they poured it out at the base of the altar. If you remember, Jesus' blood, probably whatever he had left, flowed to the base of the cross. I just wanted to make that connection. On the altar, he burned the fat, the kidneys, and the covering of the liver from the sin offering, as the Lord commanded Moses. The flesh and the hide he burned up outside the camp. Then he slaughtered the burnt offering. His sons handed him the blood, and he sprinkled it against the altar on all sides. They handed him the burnt offering piece by piece, including the head, and he burned them all on the altar. He washed the inner parts and the legs, and he burned them up. He burned them on top of the burnt offering on the altar. Aaron then brought the offering that was for the people. He took the goat for the people's sin offering and slaughtered it and offered it for a sin offering, as he did with the first one. He brought the burnt offering and offered it in the prescribed way. He also brought the grain offering, took a handful of it, and burned it on the altar in addition to the morning's burnt offering. He slaughtered the ox and the ram as the fellowship offering for the people. His son handed him the blood, and he sprinkled it against the altar on all sides. But the fat portions of the ox and the ram, the fat tail, the layer of fat, the kidneys, and the covering, the liver, these they laid on the breast, and then Aaron burned the fat on the altar. Aaron waved the breast and the right thigh before the Lord as a wave offering, as Moses commanded. Then Aaron lifted his hands toward the people and blessed them, and having sacrificed the sin offering, the burnt offering, and the fellowship offering, he stepped down. Moses and Aaron then went into the tent of meeting. When they came out, they blessed the people, and the glory of the Lord appeared to all the people. Fire came out from the presence of the Lord and consumed the burnt offering and the fat portions on the altar. And when all the people saw it, they shouted for joy and fell face down. Ooh, excuse me, guys. Chapter 10. Aaron's sons Nadab and Abihu took their censers, put fire in them, and added incense. And they offered unauthorized fire before the Lord, contrary to his command. So fire came out from the presence of the Lord and consumed them, and they died before the Lord. Moses then said to Aaron, "This is what the Lord spoke of when he said, 'Among those who approach me, I will show myself holy. In the sight of all the people, I will be honored.'" Aaron remained silent. Moses summoned Mishael and Elishaphan, son of Aaron's uncle Uzziel, and said to them, "Come here, carry your cousins outside the camp away from the front of the sanctuary." So they came and carried them, still in their tunics, outside the camp as Moses ordered. Then Moses said to Aaron and his sons Eleazar and Ithamar, "Do not let your hair become unkempt, and do not tear your clothes, or you will die, and the Lord will be angry with the whole community. But your relatives, all of Israel, may mourn for those the Lord has destroyed by fire. Do not leave the entrance to the tent of meeting, or you will die, because the Lord's anointing oil is on you." So they did as Moses said. Then the Lord said to Aaron, "You and your sons are not to drink wine or other fermented drink whenever you go into the tent of meeting, or you will die. This is a lasting ordinance for generations to come. You must distinguish between the holy and the common, between the unclean and the clean, and you must teach the Israelites all the decrees the Lord has given them through Moses. You must be able to distinguish between the holy and the common, between the unclean and the clean." Moses said to Aaron and his remaining sons, Eleazar and Ithamar, "Take the grain offering left over from the offering made to the Lord by fire, and eat it prepared without yeast besides the altar. For it is most holy. Eat it in a holy place, because it is your share and your son's share of the offering made to the Lord by fire. For so I have been commanded, but you and your sons and your daughters may eat the breast that was waved and the thigh that was presented. Eat them in a ceremonially clean place. They have been given to you and your children as your share of the Israelite fellowship offerings. The thigh that was presented and the breast that was waved must be brought with the fat portions of the offering made by fire, to be waved before the Lord as a wave offering. This will be a regular share for you and your children, as the Lord has commanded." When Moses inquired about the goat of the sin offering and found that it had been burned up, he was angry with Eleazar and Ithamar, Aaron's remaining sons, and asked, "Why didn't you eat the sin offering in the sanctuary area? It is most holy. It was given to you to take away the guilt of the community by making atonement for them before the Lord. Since its blood was not taken into the holy place, you should have eaten the goat in the sanctuary area as I commanded." Aaron replied to Moses, "Today they sacrificed their sin offering and their burnt offering before the Lord, but such things as this have happened to me. Would the Lord have been pleased if I had eaten the sin offering today?" When Moses heard this, he was satisfied. That's the wildest part right there. All this detail, all these things, and then at the end, it's like, well, the sacrifice that you normally would eat, you didn't eat. You just burn it all. What's going on? Well, I lost my sons, and we had a burnt offering. These things have happened to me. Would the Lord have been pleased if I would have done this last thing? And then when Moses heard that, he was satisfied. I see Moses kind of reminding people, and then at that point, he kind of had like a compassion, like, "Hey, my brother's sons just passed recently and stuff, and I just wanted to bring it up. You still respect, you're still respecting God, and that's the main thing, I think, is what Moses is saying." Well, I'm going to close chapter 9 and 10 down to keep these rather short. It's only 10 minutes. In fact, we got 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and read 10 all the way to 11, or just complete 10. Aaron's son Nadab and Abihu took their censers, put fire in them, and added incense. And they offered unauthorized fire before the Lord, contrary to his command. So fire came out. Oh, that's already read 10. So we read 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so we will close out there. And then I'll start on 11. It's really hard to, if you guys were following me from the beginning, it's you guys kind of catching up and getting a feel, but it's hard to read chapters, expound on them, especially if somebody has just tuned in without prior knowledge of the happenings leading up to this point. um, one thing I learned personally is yesterday I talked about unclean and clean, and we holy and unholy, right? We want to be a holy people. What is a holy people? Holy people are isn't like what you think. It's not like, oh, this person is a nun, right? Or this person's a priest or a preacher or a preacher's wife, or whatever things you have in your head that you think means holy. But really, as far as I understand, holy really just means set apart. It's like say, for example, here's a good example. Okay, and the Bible even teaches about cups, right? Like my cup runneth over. So this is a good example. This is a Isleta Casino Resort um, coffee cup. So this coffee cup is holy, not spiritually holy, but it's set apart. What does that mean? Okay. So, for example, this cup right here, and we find another cup just to teach. There we go. This is good. So this cup, I would not mind use this cup right here to get the dog food and feed my dog. I, it's okay with that. But this is set apart for drinking. This is set apart for people. So holiness is being set apart for one purpose, right? So if you're holy and you're following God, and this was you're God's cup, right? You can definitely be this cup if you want. It's not like God created you and then you're holy. No, you have to. It's not like you're perfect. Holy is like you're set apart. So God sets apart this, right? It creates you and says, "Hey, I want you to be in my hand. I want you to be used to get the liquid coffee to my lips, into my body." So that is totally dedicated to God. It's in His hand. However, if this cup says, "You know what, man, I just really like the idea of big parties, or going and chasing girls, or I like the idea of chasing these guys at the club. There's this DJ, he's so sweet," right? So you walk away. You're no longer that cup. You're a styrofoam cup. You could be used for scooping up dog food. You're not set apart. You're not um, devoted. You're not committed to God. You're not humbled. You're not low before Him. You're not conscionable. Your conscience might be getting seared because you're getting away from God. So, what does holy mean? And I'm going to close this pretty quick. Holy means being set apart. And then yesterday we learned about don't touch the unclean thing, right? And 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 I said how I want to be holy. I am out of all the people watching this, I probably am the worst sinner. I'm probably the one that deserves to be in jail from things I did 20 years ago, 25 years ago. um, I want to be holy. I see the promise that God has in it, and never really been 100% dedicated, set apart and stuff. I want to be holy. I want to be used by God. I want to be set apart for God. Second thing that we read about is Aaron's sons. They die. They prescribe they do some kind of a thing, they're burning something, incense or something, and then the Lord strikes fire and consumes them and they die. Well, that to me shows what kind of fear we ought to have, what kind of reverence. You know, if you were young and you were this cup, right? You're wild, you're whatever. Um, but God's calling you to be His cup, and you transition, right? He creates you new. Now you're set apart. Now you're holy. Um, it's with Aaron's sons. I think, and I don't know, something they did. They went from maybe being holy, having the proper fear, the proper humility before God, and they went in there like a styrofoam cup again, maybe. Just, hey, this, and without reverence, maybe, and then God consumed them. Um, my lesson there is to fear God and to not treat lightly the things of God. It's very, very, very serious business. God considers it very serious, and that's all I have for Leviticus. We finished. What did we finish on? Chapter 10, right? Yes, chapter 10. Tune back in. I'm closing this out just to keep them under 20 minutes, and I'm going to start again in 5 minutes, probably after I get a cup of coffee, refresh, and the book of Leviticus, chapter 11. Have a good morning, all. God bless you.